What is up, everybody? We are live. Aaron the Dog is back with another Bellator Breakdown show. It's Bellator 268. Interestingly enough, right around the time of UFC 268 coming up November 6th from Madison Square Garden. So it's kind of interesting. They've lined up a little bit, maybe only to me. And then that's, of course, Lewis from Norton MMA. I forgot your first name when I was talking about it the other day. I was like, I'm doing it with Norton. I was like, Flynn, like, what is it? It's been that long, a whole couple weeks since the MVP robbery. You know, congratulations on getting that correct. You had MVP in that fight.
I did reluctantly had him. Yeah, I had him by some shithousery. I said it'll be corrupt judges from boxing. I said that in the video.
Yeah, I mean that's
what UK judges do, man. Bellator seems to get the judges from boxing, and the boxing judges are a bit, Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles, aren't they? Yeah,
it was a rough one, and then of course I was battling some commenters about that afterwards. Kept me from a perfect card. Had all the fights before that correct, including. Not including obviously the no contest, but besides that, so it could have been a perfect card. It would have been like my second or third perfect Bellator card, and I was celebrating early after the bell rang. I thought the takedowns were enough, but they weren't, alas. So back here, coming off of a very successful Contender Series card yesterday. So once again, the Contender Series, if you're not checking those out, if you're not kind of tailing Lucky Locks and my bets at this point, you're missing out on some free money. So 4 or 5 yesterday, I think I actually went. I did go with Pep Rocky, who just came up short, but 4 or 5 on the other ones, including Slava Borishkov, who is going to be a star in the UFC. So I don't know if you watched Slava. He's been in LFA a few times. He lost to William Starks, who's been a very good regional guy.
That's the one fight I have seen from him.
Yeah. So I mean, that was a split decision. So, but check out those other fights. They don't last as long. Beat a Scottish fighter and Chris Duncan, really good fight there. Obviously, we're here to talk about Bellator, though. So enough about the UFC card. We're here to talk about Bellator 268. This is a really good card. I have a lot of personal investment in it. Right away, the main event, Julius Anglickas. He's a guy who I've followed very closely for a long time. I think a lot of people remember him from the Contender Series where he won his fight. Maybe they don't, but he didn't get a contract. The third round finish back then didn't get the contract that it would now. And it's just kind of another example of a guy from the Contender Series that I think got away. Thamaris, Ms., Boston Comments, everybody else, thank you for joining us there in the chat. But I'm very, very involved with Julius, keep in contact with him quite a bit. I broke down the Bellator Grand Prix with him, actually, on my last channel I was on. So it's a really interesting kind of journey to go from breaking it down with him. We kind of made the suggestion he'd be considered the alternate. So I don't think this is as a surprise to him as it is for a lot of the public. But I'm really excited for that. He actually shouted out the breakdown. I don't know if you saw that, but he added it to his story, which was pretty crazy fight week. He's just definitely relaxing. He's got a few things going on today, but it's a busy week, more busy than most fight weeks for him. So obviously we'll catch up with Julius soon, but he seems to be handling it all really well. I'm very excited for that fight with Nemkov. So, but there's many fights on this card I'm excited about. It's a little more of like a modern Bellator, unlike our last one from the UK where we had like 3-4 records or 0-1 versus 0-1. This seems, back in the States, we're back in Phoenix, so I think there's a little more access to some good regional guys. I mean, we're starting out with a 14-1 Russian Savage against a 15-2 really good LFA journeyman and Jaleel Willis. So, but how are you doing, Lewis? I've been talking the whole time. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm good, man. Straight coming off seeing Cage Warriors live, which was great. Watching Morgan Charrier and Paul Hughes do it. That was, some of these fights down there were just absolute brutal. A lot of up and comers, same from the same gyms as Molly McCann. She was there shouting at praise for the Irish, and Paddy Pimblett was down there looking, slapping his belly. He had a lot of
Paddy the fatty.
He ain't actually that bad at the moment. It's just all it's just pictures and lighting. It's it's just him ripping himself. It's his face. It's his face. Nothing else.
He's just got a fat face. I get it. I have the same problem with angles in pictures, so I get it. We're both just off fight weight. But yeah, this is I'm pretty excited about this card. I'm not gonna lie. It was a lot of fun doing tape on. I will mention that this card, I think, has and you'll probably know who it is, so don't reveal it, but it probably is my favorite prospect in MMA right now in any organization. So I will definitely be mentioning that fight. And Bellator knows how to handle an uber prospect when they got it. I will give them credit for that, because I think that they gave him a very winnable fight coming up.
They do it boxing style, don't they?
There's one uber prospect who I think they set up correctly. I think another one they're attempting to, and they might have it blow up in their face. So we got a couple of really impressive prospects though on this card. Obviously have the semifinals of the Grand Prix here. Vader versus Corey Anderson, flying under the radar. Another 5-round fight. Both those fights are 5 rounds, a reminder. So that's a big deal, especially for Bellator, which could have used 5 rounds last week with Michael Venom Page and Lima. Because then they really could have crystallized a robbery as opposed to just making people argue it. So I'm not bitter at all. Didn't miss out on an enormous payday. By the way, the amateur fight on this card, I believe that Maria Henderson is Benson Henderson's wife, taking on an 0-2 Colette Santiago. We're not going over that fight. That's as much as we're going over it. I'm assuming Maria Henderson wins. So hopefully she's not as bad as is it Gilbert Melendez's wife that's like really got the nasty record. One of the fighters' wives has like a terrible record. I'm not sure which one. There's a few
older fighters. Kerry Vera, Brandon Vera's wife, did Kim Couture. There's a few fighters out there. Yeah, I
thought it was like Kylie Melendez, but maybe I'm just for no reason here. But we're gonna go ahead and hop in here. I'm getting back into the groove here, back in DC. So first fight, it's a banger. Muhammad Bakhmamov taking on Jaleel Willis. I might not be able to say Berkmanov's name well, but I've watched a lot of this guy's fights. I've been very excited for this guy's debut. It was actually supposed to happen a little while ago. A little bit of weight issues, and his opponent was just like, if he misses weight, I'm definitely not fighting him. It was Herman Tirado. No shame there, though. I mean, I believe Berkmanov missed weight by a few pounds in that one. So taking on Jaleel Willis, the realist. I've known Jaleel Willis for quite a while, so we got a 5'11", 74.5-inch reach for Jaleel Willis, taking on the 6'2" Muhammad. So definitely don't have the reach for Muhammad, but definitely a reach advantage in this fight, height advantage. Jaleel, though, definitely has made the move back up to welterweight and looked really good. Their 6-fight win streak for him there. All those fights in the distance, which some people kind of might look, and be a little concerned about. I think, however, that it's pretty encouraging, especially Vincent De Jesus is a solid guy, good leg kicks, good Brazilian striker, but Mark Lemminger, very, very good wrestler, has had some good success in Bellator, and Macon Mendoza, another good striker. The thing with this fight, Berkmanov, I think the best chance to beat him short is to extend his cardio. He seems as the rounds go on, he seems to wait much more, conserve blitzes, there just seems to be a lot of spaces if you have a little more cardio, a little more movement, a little more varied to your are kind of leading the dance, which Jaleel tends to do in these decision wins he gets, that I think sets this up to be a pretty intriguing fight. Jaleel Willis has faced a ton of great talent. He's been fighting so much more. He's in such a better rhythm. He's fought, I believe almost his entire 6-fight win streak has been since Berkmanov last fought. So his 6-fight win streak started in May of 2019 against now UFC competitor Dakota Bush. That was when he was at 155, but his last 5 have been at 170. Berkmanov's last fight was in August of 2019. So nearly his entire 6-fight win streak has taken place during Berkmanov's time off here. Berkmanov then tried to come back, missed weight, and so I think I would assume, looking at Berkmanov's record, this might be the first time he's fought in the States. Most of his fights are with ACA over in Russia or ACB. So, yeah, this is his first fight in the States. We've seen a couple times these guys making their debuts over in the States kind of struggling. But, again, 2020, he tried to have a fight set up with Bellator. There was an issue with his opponent. That's not really his fault. Next fight, Jordan Mean was injured, so they got the replacement in Tirado for the same fight, and then Berkmanov missed weight. You look back at Berkmanov's fights, he's got an incredible armbar. He's got incredible striking when he's going, but the gas tank I would not describe as that way. But great size for the 170 division. If he's coming back better and has shored up those holes in his game, he should be able to take Jaleel Willis, in my opinion. But I'm going to go with the rhythm. I'm going to go with the movement and any other Gloria Estefan songs. I'm going to go with Jaleel Willis here, man. I'm LFA biased, first and foremost, at times. This is an LFA product. He's taking on a Russian who has not fought since his basically uprise into Bellator here, and he's getting more comfortable with each Bellator fight. And I don't think that you're putting Berkmanov away. I think the way you beat him is you win 2 of 3 rounds, and most likely the second and third round. I think Berkmanov can come out, win the first, but Jaleel Willis has been stopped, but that was at 155. And I do think at 170 it suits him much better. He's got to be the quicker guy here. He's got to be the guy moving. I'll take Jaleel Willis by decision, though, in this one. I think this one is a really interesting, close fight. So, yeah, I believe in Jaleel.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there with the weight is going to be a major issue. If he can make weight, no problem, which I don't think he can, Berkmanov, that is.
Right.
I think if he can make weight, no problem, no issues. I think he can bank a first 2 rounds, because that layoff has got to play a major factor in this, because he's either going to come out gun shy or the complete opposite and blitz him, because he needs to get the rhythm back. Whereas Jaleel's almost he's got the rhythm, he's got the momentum, as you say. I think if he can drag it, if he can test him, really push a pace in that first round, those second and thirds, landing body shots as he does. I know he's got a lot of decisions, so he knows how to go decision. You never question his cardio, but the decisions he's got as well are off decent guys. They're not bad fighters at all, at all. Right. So you know he's been in there with people that can strike, that can grapple, that can use an MMA base. Whereas I'm not so sure on the other side. So I'm actually 100% with you on this. I go Willis as well by decision. I don't see how he's going to get finished based on anything that Berkmanov can kind of produce. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And I mean, for me, it's just we've seen Berkmanov try to come back already once, and he had the weight issues. So without that, I'm probably leaning Berkmanov. But this is about as bad of a matchup to come back to for his first fight in a couple years as, you can really draw up. It's a guy who's going to draw your cardio out, very tough, has no trouble making the weight, and is still a good size for the weight. And against a guy like Berkmanov, who does do some weighting with his striking, I mean, Willis can really move in, throw some volume, and I think win a decision here. The odds are minus 195, almost minus 200 for Berkmanov, but the money is coming in. Yeah, the money's coming on Willis. That's for sure. I think that Willis plus 155, nearly a 1.5 to 1 underdog. I mean, I love that price. I love the odds. Obviously, I don't think there's any reason to bet decision because the decision price is going to be nearly identical to the money line. We might as well just bet it in case. But yeah, I like the dog to start out the card here. We actually agree. Jaleel Willis takes it 17 fights versus 15 fights. So, I mean, Bergmanov was the more experienced guy till he took a couple years off. So, U.S. debut, 2 years off, weight issues. There's a lot that I like Willis as a dog here, and I'm going to take a shot at it. So, best of luck to those following along. We talked about the prospect I really like. It comes up here. The secret's out. I love Jaylon Bates. I think he is one of the most legitimate prospects in MMA at the moment. And if Bellator lets him go, they'd be absolute fools. It doesn't appear they are, but still keeping him kind of hidden on the prelims. I think he's going to make a rise pretty quickly, and I think this might be one of his last kind of matchups like this. Taking out Rafael Montini. 6-4, Brazilian, 32 years old, taking on the 24-year-old Jaylon Bates, 5'9", 73.5-inch reach for the bantamweight. We just broke down a fucking welterweight who is 5'11", 74.5-inch reach in Jaleel Willis. We are now breaking down a bantamweight. This is 35 pounds down. And Jaylon
Missed the tickle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's insane. ATT Portland. New Breed is a very fitting nickname for him, taking on the Rebel. 5'7", probably around a 70-inch reach or so, at best 135. He is fighting out of Scottsdale, Arizona, so it is a local fighter here in Rafael. So that's a little bit of a advantage for sure who's going to be the dog here in the Rebel. De Lima. He is on a 2-fight losing streak. He is fighting out Fight Ready MMA, a very good camp in Arizona. Lost, got choked out by Anthony Burchek, which is a decent loss. He did go on to UFC, hasn't had any success ever in the UFC, but decent loss there. Mario Batista beat him also in 2018. Marcus McGee knocked him out his last time out, and that was only the end of July, so just about 2 months ago he got knocked out. I was able to watch that. It wasn't like a vicious knockout, but definitely dropped him. His wins are over, so-so level of guys. I actually have heard of João Camilo. I believe I broke him down a few weeks ago with another organization, but I think I broke him down with Fury FC. LFA. LFA. Yeah, he took on Charles Johnson. Yeah, and he was pretty overmatched in that fight, to be honest. But it's Charles Johnson, who's one of the best 125ers not in the UFC right now, so no shame there. But yeah, Rafael Montini gets finishes in a lot of his fights. He's got a combo arm triangles, guillotine choke, and he definitely is going to look to get this to the ground. That's, I think, his best chance. I think on the feet he's not touching Jaylon, but Jaylon's really good everywhere. He's tricky on the feet, 3-0. For the 24-year-old, I have ATT Portland, now fighting out Las Vegas, Nevada as well. So he does do some camp switching. Had a really nice guillotine choke of Jeffrey Glossner in their fight. I remember breaking that down back in April. And then took on Cody Matthews. Definitely kind of a setup fight. He looked pretty good in that fight, and again, a really slick armbar. I think that this fight he looks to test the feet, and 6-4. I mean, this is what they're going to match up Jaylon Bates with early on. I think Jaylon Bates gets his TKO win here. I think that he's looking to. I think he's shown the grappling the last couple fights, but I do like the second round finish again here. And I'm going to take Jaylon Bates for a ground and pound TKO finish.
Ground and pound, very specific as well. I like it.
Yep.
I hope one thing with Bates is that he doesn't become the next Pico, the Aaron Pico, where they kind of spoon feed him people when he actually loses to one, and then it kind of almost
I wouldn't say ruins him because he's a quality mixed martial artist still, but it's affected his growth for sure and the hype. Jaylon's going to have that backing from Bellator, especially if he wins this in that sort of fashion like you described. I'm definitely 100% backing Bates here. There's no question in my mind Bates wins this fight. It's made for him. It's tailor made for him. It's an experienced guy. It's a decent name on the circuit. It's low down in the card, but it's going to draw some eyeballs, and the way he'll do it, I think that's what they're looking for. So I'm going to go with a submission. I think he's going to rock him on the feet. I think all Brazilians, you say, oh, they've all got jiu-jitsu, but it's the old thing of when you get hit, you lose a belt color. So I think he's going to snatch something up. He's got nasty guillotine on him, and I think he's going to show off his skills on the feet because he's going to want to express his skills now.
Yeah, I just think he's so hard to prepare for grappling wise because you're just not going to grapple with a guy of his length and his weight. It's just something you can't.
That is a phenomenal reach.
And he uses it. He's learning to use it with the striking, but he knows how to use it with the grappling like really well. It's how he got that modified guillotine on Jeffrey Glossner, who I believe Jeffrey Glossner missed weight in that fight as well. I remember a lot of people were talking about Glossner going into that fight against Bates. A lot of people were giving him. So, I love Bates. I think that this guy should be a household name by people once he starts facing a little higher level of competition. Motini, 2 straight losses, a TKO less than 2 months ago. I think they want Bates to get a TKO. I really believe, or a KO. Like I really believe that we know he's a world-class grappler. Now show us you got a little power to you so we can, really start to up the level. And so minus 650 for Bates. I mean, he's in every single one of my parlays. So literally every single one. So he's mildly helping parlays. That's basically it. Inside the distance, then I'm in Washington, D.C., so the sirens are nonstop here, so I apologize for that. But
outside London, it's similar.
I would think inside the distance on it even is still like a minus 375. This is just pretty much bet to where you can't do much with it other than add it to some parlays. But he's a real deal, man. Jaylon Bates, go watch his fights if you haven't watched his fights. I don't know if there's a prospect in MMA who I'm more excited for right now. So literally looking forward to seeing what they do with him after this. I don't think this is where he slips up. But maybe I'm eating my words. It is MMA. We never know. Like he's only faced a 2-1 guy and a 1-1 guy. This is by far the most experienced guy Jaylon Bates has faced. The most before this was 3 fights. He's facing a guy with 10, 11 fights. So that is an X factor. So while I've kind of got it rolled over, it is MMA. We never can completely assume, but we shall see. But next fight here is at 155. They got back-to-back prospects that they're showcasing here. I feel like they've had these guys on a few cards now together, and I think they're expecting to have both these guys in Bellator for a long time. Lance Gibson Jr., son of the former MMA fighter Lance Gibson Sr., who is dating Julia Budd or married to Julia Budd, I think. So that's like the corner for Lance Gibson Jr. is Julia Budd and Lance Gibson Sr.
Got some experience then, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And Julia Budd seems to be like the main coach. She's like the vocal one. Taking out Raymond Pena, the former welterweight here, Raymond Pena, Combate Global, 9-4, 31 years old, 5'9", 71-inch reach against Lance Gibson Jr. Gibson MMA, 5'10", 72.5-inch reach. So the reach actually goes to the guy who is fighting at 155. But Raymond Pena, I will be breaking down first, 9-4. Born in Tucson, fighting out of Tucson. Well, last fought in October of 2019, got the win over there with Combate out of Tucson. Finished Michael Robertson in the third round, a 7-5 opponent. Was finished. He's been finished in all of his losses by submission. All 4 of them. He got heel hooked in 1, arm barred in 1, in 2 of them, and guillotine choked in 1, including an arm bar against Kyle Stewart in his debut, which is interesting because I don't really think of Kyle Stewart as a grappling guy. But has some decent wins. Has a win over Esteban Paiva, Rafael Souza. Some so-so wins. Has win over Tay Edwards back in the day, who made the UFC and was a complete bust. But still some decent high-level wins. Has been in there with some high-level athletes. Was supposed to face Mikey Gonzalez from the Contender Series. The fight just kind of fizzled out. He's now taking on Lance Gibson Jr., but Raymond Pena basically likes to get into kind of brawls where he can just kind of throw down on the feet, use his boxing, or get on top of you with his wrestling, and doesn't really do a lot of advancing once on top, just kind of stays on top. It's very heavy on top. I think that could be kind of a factor here with the welterweight coming down to lightweight. Oh, what up, Mr. Bishop? Finally joining us for a live breakdown. Good to see you, man. Congratulations on the baby girl. But that's my buddy Brandon Bishop. Absolute savage of a person. But anyways, Raymond Pena, he doesn't make it look very pretty. I mean, he kind of gets a lot of these fights kind of dirty, into the clinch a little bit, dirty boxing. I mean, but he's very heavy on top. Lance Gibson definitely the much more technical, crisp athlete of the two of these guys, 4-0. There he is with his dad and his stepmom, Julia Budd. So good for, the family picture there. That's nice. They are fighting out of Canada, British Columbia. And, he trains out of his own gym. Took on Marcus Surin last time out. And that was a fight where he was looking really good until he wasn't looking really good. In the third round, got caught in a pretty deep rear naked choke, nearly put away. Definitely showed a little bit of the gas issues in that fight. Prior to that, had a finish in the first round from the back mount, a KO, and then, all first round finishes. So it was good to see him go 3 rounds, albeit seems like if the pace was pushed a little bit earlier, could have maybe been an issue for him. This is a fight I'm kind of staying away from, honestly, from a betting perspective, because I'm nervous. I think this might be the booby trap for Lance Gibson. I just didn't like what I saw too much out of him against Surin after the gas started to dissipate a little bit, and I just wonder if Pena kind of learns from that. The big size advantage maybe makes a difference, and I'm not confident how Gibson will look if he's on the bottom here. And I think that I'm going to still take Gibson officially as my pick, but I wouldn't bet this with a 10-foot pole. I'm a little bit worried. I think that Gibson can definitely shown his submission game strong. Pena's been submitted 4 times, so it seems like the smart pick is Gibson by sub. But if that doesn't happen in the first round, I'm a little concerned.
I think that's a good point. He's a bigger bloke coming down, and he's got the Mark Coleman style, pressure against the cage and just sit in half guard, and just grind out. No, more John Fitch rather. Do you know what I mean? Just hang out, see if I can just rest him. You're going to give me the round anyway. You don't really hurt the guy. He's going to come out with no marks on him. This could be dangerous for Lance, but I don't think it will be personally. I do think Lance will handle him pretty well. I don't think Pena's got great striking, to be honest, and Lance does come out the gates hot. I think it will be another first round. I think he will learn everything from that Surin fight about himself going, the distance. So going early is his thing. He likes to blitz. He likes to finish. I think he's going to put a lot of pressure on Pena to start with, and I think Pena's just going to break.
Yeah.
If he was a stronger individual, I would back Pena. I'd say he'd probably weather the storm, come back, win round 2, round 3 by laying and praying. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to break, and I think Lance is just going to smash him to bits in the first round. I'm going to go with a KO, TKO.
Okay, so fair enough. That would be Lance Gibson. I think it's second KO. The odds are they're closer for this one. I think I saw him at minus 500. It's now down to minus 435 for Lance Gibson. So we got
I also wouldn't bet it either.
Yeah, but I
wouldn't touch this fight. But
yeah, it's tough coming off that Surin fight where it was a guy with 10 fights. This is now a guy with 13 fights. The experience goes up a little bit. Surin wasn't a large individual either. Pena is going to be a little bit bigger. So, again, a guy out of Arizona, local fighter, could have, a little bit more comfort here. Plus 330
how's the weight
on
cut going to
Pena.
go as well, though? If he
Yeah.
struggles with the weight, that's a big thing. Surin's a bit more technical than Pena, I'd say.
Mhm.
So,
yeah, no, I'm in no rush to bet Pena, but I'll be interested to see the weigh-ins
definitely a good
and
test.
everything. Yep, and yes, sir, 2 shows in one day, Elliot. We will be back at 7:30 for the UFC breakdown show. Bunny and I will be back. All my friends are busy having babies right now. Brian Battle getting ready to also have a son coming up soon, so he's been away from the show for a few weeks. Brant Bishop having a daughter. Maybe Miles Battle and Mr. Bishop's daughter will get together one day and make a super baby that I'll be breaking down fights from my deathbed on. But enough about that. We both got Lance Gibson here. I'm a little more nervous about it, but I would love to see the first round finish. That would be great.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you can't really beat that start with those 3 fighters. And then we got another pretty exciting fight here, in my opinion, actually. At 125, we've got a fighter who I've really started to like here in Sumiko Inaba taking on Randy Field. I just liked what I saw from Sumiko in her last fight here. I believe she has kind of a cool nickname of some sort. I think it's like the Savage. Let me see. What is it? Something about samurais or something, I swear. But I should have just waited till I looked at it. But Lady Samurai, yeah. Lady Samurai Inaba taking out Ruthless Randy Field. We got Canada versus Hawaii. 5'4", 64-inch reach for Inaba versus a 5'3", 62-inch reach for Randy Field. I was able to find that from one of her fights. Randy Field, Ruthless Randy Field, I'll be breaking out first, 31 years old, fighting out Windsor, Ontario, last fought in December of 2019. 3-fight win streak combined with her amateur win, which was a split decision prior to going pro. A lot of losses in amateur. 1 armbar, 1 rear naked choke, and a few decisions here. So far as a pro, has beat 2 very unknown opponents, and 0-3 Amanda Lovato, who's now 0-7, and 3-5 Melissa Karaginas, who's now 3-8. So not very impressive competition. Sumiko Inaba, saw her in Bellator, I believe. Once or twice? It was actually twice. Yeah, she made her debut in Bellator. Looked good in both those. Ground and pound finish in the first fight. Just straight up punch finish in the second fight after tearing her apart with body kicks, head kicks as well. Has had a lot of stoppages in her career. She can really strike. She's getting another stoppage here at Randy Field. I'll just keep it simple. Inaba is definitely very, very slick. Again, Bunny's just she's ready to take on double breakdowns here because, super slick. I mean, really good power. Clearly a star in the making for Bellator here. Go ahead and put her up against Valerie Laredo and just get rid of Valerie Laredo altogether here and put all your effort around Inaba because she's the real deal, unlike Laredo. So Inaba here. I'm going to go with a first round finish here of Randy Field, and it's kind of crazy to be able to confidently pick first round finishes of a 125 low level fight, but I think that's how good Inaba is here. 2-0 versus 2-0, and it seems like it's a squash match for Inaba. So
on paper, 2-0 v 2-0, but it's not 2-0 v 2-0, and that's the thing. Yeah, I think Inaba's super marketable as well. So I think this lady is going to be. Hence, she's so high up this card with 2 fights.
Yeah, exactly. She's a star.
And obviously no secret that a lot of MMA cards, not just Bellator, but all MMA cards, when there's women with very little fights, they normally start the cards. They're not normally midway through or higher up, just because people disinterested. Wrongly or rightly, but Inaba, people be interested they'll be interested from the weigh-ins for obvious reasons. They'll be interested on fight day. So it's
what we say on podcasts when that is the case is she's marketable. That's what we
marketable.
say. Yes,
she's very marketable.
there's a trend with the marketable fighters besides that they can fight.
Yeah,
because balancing a ship. Yeah. Anyways, that's a whole other podcast.
that's a lone podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me shut up.
Might get more views.
Especially with the thumbnail we'd be using for that one. But yeah, we're on the same page here. I mean, this is a Naba. For me, this is the same price. This is the same odds as the Lance Gibson fight. Literally minus 435 plus 330. I feel much better about this minus 435 in the Naba. Naba and Bates are just about in all my parlays, I'll be honest. So, while it's a minus 600 and minus 400, it's not great, but still, these guys are coming in. I think they're both coming in inside the distance, so I would even, bet it that way. Naba, Lady Samurai, I mean, she's very, very good. Has a good corner as well. So they seem to really communicate well. She's got that third-round finish in her last fight. 30 years old. I mean, the time is now for her to kind of get her rise going. But, yeah, she looks really good. Very excited about that fight. The first 5 fights are really great. The inevitable Bellator finally starts to strike here a little bit. I will say this. The 6th fight, not my favorite fight of the night. I would not describe this fight as high level. And I would not put $1 on either one of these guys. So I'll say that much first and foremost right off the bat. We have Javier Torres taking on Gregory Milliard. Gregory Milliard last fought Julius Anglickas last time out. That was such a mismatch. I guess they just had to keep Anglickas warm, but Milliard seemed to be surprised that takedowns were allowed in MMA in that fight. And he was facing like he seemed to be shocked. I don't know if in the back Julius is like, no takedown, man, and he fooled him. I'm not but Milliard has 0 takedown defense. He just does. He was fighting pretty much cans in the Caribbeans for most of his career. He's got pretty salty record here. 12-6. He was in Aruba. I think he was known as the king of Aruba or something. 5'11", 72-inch reach here. The Arubian assassin. That's his name. It was very, very physically imposing. 12-6, 72-inch reach. Not very long for the division. Knocked out a 3-2 Anthony and Ignacio before taking on Julius Anglickas. Julius Anglickas just went in there, dominated, took him down at will. No takedown defense to be seen. The Muhammad Abdullah fight, also no takedown defense, really. The fights he's all lost have just been because he's winning the striking but can't stop a takedown just over and over again. And his wins are over Michael Cooper, who did fight in the UFC, never did much. That's his best win. He retired after that fight. Alexander Hoffman was 10-2, yes, but looked pretty bad. A lot of paper records he faced. Javier Torres has been being a professional grappler now. He faced Tim Welsh his last time out in a grappling bout. I mean, it seems like if Javier Torres can get the takedown, take him down, stay on top of him, eventually submit him, would be my assumption. But I don't have that much faith in Javier Torres either. 11-5 for the Chunty boy. That's a dangerous nickname. 6'1", 71-inch reach. So he has a reach disadvantage here, even though he has the length. He is fighting out of MMA Lab, fighting out of Arizona. So hasn't fought since June of 2019. And he beat Joel Champion. Joel Champion was pretty out of shape for that fight, but he was able to submit him. I think he submits Milliard. It gets to the ground at some point. And Torres, I think, has the submission game. So I'll take Torres. I'm not putting $1 on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on this one either. And I always back a grappler when the striker has 0. I think 0 is being generous with his takedown defense. I think it's in the minus. I think he falls down instead of trying to defend one. It's almost like he's scared of falling. Yeah.
He's got no takedown defense.
No. So I think if he obviously he could land something, but yeah, I wouldn't touch this one either. But always bet the grappler for me in these scenarios. It goes back to UFC 1. You got a striker via grappler, back the grappler.
Yeah, but it's interesting because and also his losses in Bellator to Neiman Gracie, Andre Fiallo, not bad losses at all. But it's kind of interesting because he doesn't have a ton of submission wins. It seems like
just control.
It seems like control and grappling maybe became more of a focus after he struggled with MMA. And then we saw against Joel Champion, that was his last fight back in June. He did get the triangle from the bottom. I don't think there's a chance Milliard follows him to the ground, but maybe in ground and pound he gets a little comfortable, and Torres can even throw up another triangle. He put Joel Champion kind of has a similar body type to Milliard. He's kind of a bigger, stockier 205er, so that might not bother Torres very much. But yeah, I've said enough about this fight. Honestly, I think this fight should be leading off the card with the level of fighters that we've talked about today. And we got 11-5 versus 12-6. The odds, by the way, Javier Torres is the slight underdog at -105, -115. So the odds also don't know what to do. I have the slightest. Yeah, it's a roll of the dice that I just wouldn't be interested in. I suggest everybody else pass as well. That is at 185 also. So Milliard fought his last fight at 205. I imagine the gas is going to be even worse. Okay. Well, Bunny. So Bellator doesn't judge the fights, though. That's you should just protest UK Athletic Commission.
You should protest the UK boxing judges.
Yeah,
they're terrible.
So maybe this is at Arizona Athletic Commission. So maybe you'll be able to find a way to watch. I have a feeling that protest will be short-lived, but maybe I'm wrong. Either way, fight for your rights, Rich's Bunny. But next fight is at a lightweight. It's a good one. I think we're back to a very good fight. Bobby Lee, not the Asian comedian Bobby Lee, taking on Nick Brown. Calm down, Dev the Dude. I will not be putting that comment up about MVP because he didn't. But he did on paper, so I guess you're right. Bunny, go get him. So Bobby Lee taking on Nick Brown here at 155. This is an LFA special here. Love to see it. 12-6. Bobby Lee, still only 25 years old. 5'9", 71-inch reach. Start BJJ in Minnesota, taking on Nick Nyquil Brown, 11-1, 31.5 years old, All-American MMA Academy in Uniontown, Pennsylvania, 6 foot 72-inch reach. I'll be breaking down the former LFA lightweight champion Nick Nyquil Brown first, 11-1 for the 31-year-old, 6 foot, similar reach to his opponent. This is I think this is two grapplers could end up with either a grappling affair or canceling each other out and ended up on the feet. Coming off a win against Arthur Estralius at LFA 97 back in January. Looked really good. Just used pure control in wrestling. Same thing he did with Ben Eagley, a very good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu player. Trey Ogden, another Jiu-Jitsu player. He was able to submit him. His last 3 wins have been very high-level opponents, 12-3, 12-3, and 12-4. Now taking on the 12-6 Bobby Lee. LFA, very successful run there. Had a tough decision loss to John Gunther. I actually went back and watched that fight, and I expected it to be kind of similar to this one. Two very high-level grapplers, and ended up with the feet coming into play, or ended up the stand-up game coming a little more into play here. I think that happens here. I do think that Bobby Lee has the power advantage in this fight. But I think that Nick Brown is going to be able to have the more tactical stand-up. I think it ends up kind of just staying there. Maybe a little bit of wrestling, but I think it's kind of a stand-up, maybe a little ho-hum of a fight here because of how close these guys are in the grappling. I think both guys aren't going to look to really test it as much. I think if any guy does end up on top, it will be Nick Brown. But I'll take a decision for Brown. Honestly, I think that this is a close fight on paper. It's going to be a close decision. I get that the comments are talking about MVP and everything. I just going to leave that to them in the comments. Go get it. But yeah, Bobby Lee, it's been a tough Bellator run. Lost to Joey Davis, lost to Soren Bach. Those were both good competitive decisions, but again, I think Nick Brown
is shame in Soren Bach's loss either.
Not at all.
Incredible. Yeah.
No, Soren Bach is incredibly good. No, you're fine, Bunny. I just can't focus on that because I know that MVP did not win, and I had to be going back with whoever Dev the Dude is. So, I don't want to, I'm sure that he had MVP in his picks, so that's good. We moved on from that garbage, though. But I got Nick Brown here. I think that he's just faced a better level of competition. He was a champion in LFA. Bobby Lee was not. And, I just think that there's just a difference. There's just a slight difference here. I think the grappling is slightly in Brown's favor as well. The stand-up is in Brown's favor. And maybe a little bit of athleticism on Bobby Lee's side. But I'll take Brown. Fairly certain this goes the distance, this one. So I'll take Brown by decision.
Yeah, I think Brown definitely has a lot more ways to win this fight. You can argue that Lee's fought better competition, but he hasn't come through against that competition. So Nick Brown has fought high level competition as well, especially in his last 3 fights, as you say, and he's won them all and won them well. So I think momentum as well. You'd go with Brown over Lee, and I would back him as well. I think when you see 2 grappling guys, it kind of stalemates it, and they do end up striking.
Right.
But I think whoever can slip up, Brown loves grabbing it back. He gets that back, and he body triangles in, and he's away on your neck. So I would back Brown if I was to put my money down on this one. I'm going to stay away from this one because I do think it's going to be quite competitive.
Yeah, especially the price. Brown's going to be a big favorite in this one. People are going to look and say, Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, if the grappling's canceled out, Nick Brown really does remind me of just like 155 John Salter, though. I mean, It is identical. Like, they look similar, they fight similar, they've got very similar results. I mean, what is John Salter, 18-2 at this point, or 18-3 maybe now?
Record, yeah.
But yeah, anyways, I guess Dev the Dude is making notes on who people are picking and everything. So positivity in the chat. I don't want to be like a school teacher here, but if you don't want to be positive, you can take your ass out of the chat. I don't care who the fuck you are. So respect first and foremost. That's all I'm going to say. We all make picks that pay off and don't pay off. So yeah. Anyways, moving on to the next fight. I will not be breaking down Dev the Dude and Boston Comments in my breakdown, but I will be breaking down Sullivan Coley versus Dion Clash. What the hell is this? What the hell is this doing on here? And all right, well, let's move on, Dev. Like, honestly, have you never been called garbage before? I have a feeling you probably have. Like, it's all good. Like, we're all here because we love MMA. I appreciate you all being here, but like, we don't really, it doesn't really matter. Everybody's being nice. Everybody's being mean. I don't care. I can't see. I'm going back and forth between cages. If you guys are having fun ribbing each other, I'm fine with it. I just want to make sure everybody's cool. That's all. So if you guys want to bust each other's balls in the comments, that's fine. I just want to make sure it's all good. I'm going back and forth between pages here. I just want to make sure. So as long as there's respect, especially for Boston Comments, then I'm all good. But Dion Clash versus Coley. We got the 1-0 Bellator prelim special. And, of course, they're going to put it 8th up on the card because why wouldn't they? There we go. I'm seeing hearts. There we go. Awesome. All love here. Agree. Ms. Yeah. All right. There we go. Just making sure I'm not yelling at anybody. I like everybody here. So Dion Clash, and thank you all for being here, by the way. Dion Clash I'll be breaking down first here. 29 years old, 6'1", looks very athletic, frankly, for what I've been able to see. Good grappler, has had some grappling bouts that I was able to watch as well. 2-0 going back to his amateur career as well. Has a few rear naked chokes on his amateur career. Lost to Jordan Johnson, Joe Giletti, and Ryder Newman. So those are like extremely high level, good guys to lose to as an amateur. I'll say that much. Okay, good. I'm glad you're laughing. That's good. I don't know. I can't read text, so I'm glad. All love good. Joe Giletti had not the greatest UFC career, but he was definitely a very good amateur back in the day. Jordan Johnson, good pro and amateur. Ryder Newman, like I said, got a Kimura finish at his one pro bout in April of 2019 as well against Jose Galvez. That's about all I got on him. We got a grappler versus a striker here. So, I know with you said taking the grappler usually. I think that this one, Sullivan Gale, we got to see him in his Bellator debut for all of 30 seconds in November of 2020. Very handsome looking guy, so that's good. He's marketable. That's what we'll say. 25 years old, 6'1", 74.5-inch reach. Probably about similar reaches. I think Dion Clash looks pretty big myself, but we'll see at the weigh-ins. Finished Jason Markland, an 0-1 opponent in 28 seconds. As an amateur, lost 2 decisions and won 4 of the fights. I don't recognize any of the names he's fought. Cauley probably wins, but I'm going to go with Clash here. So I'll go with Clash. I'll take the grappler. He's been pretty active on the BJJ scene as well. And we don't know how good Cauley is. I'm not betting much on this fight, but once I saw the line, I decided to take a shot at the dog here. I'm not saying looks mean shit. I'm just saying he's marketable. That's all. And real quick shout out here. 14 leg parlay for Bishop last week. I gave him my favorite picks from the 3 cards. So I'm a parlay guy myself. This is 1-0 versus 1-0. Who the hell knows? Why are you putting money on this when you got 24 fights to bet from this weekend?
There you go. That's
I'll take
exactly
Clash.
it.
I'll take Clash just based on the odds. The odds seem out of whack here for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Anyone betting on this, for real, is crazy. You don't know. Yeah. You just don't know that. I don't know how this is this high up. It's crazy. Again, my rule: bet the grappler. You don't know. It's a roll of the dice.
Right.
They've got a lot more ways to win. They can drag you to the ground, and you're just a neat striker, and you have no way to get up. Yeah. Toast. So a lot more people could take a punch than survive it.
These odds are crazy to me.
This should be dead even. This should be even.
Yeah, minus 350 on Cauley.
That's mental.
Plus 260. Yeah, minus 350. I just don't want to know how they can claim that. And plus 260. Yeah, plus 260 on Dion Clash, who is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. And has not been knocked out and has the better level of competition as an amateur. So, Devin the Dude here, the odds maker. I'm just going to highlight. He agrees with the odds. That's good. I'm glad Devin the Dude does. There's 28 seconds of tape on Cauley that I was able to find. So I don't know if he follows Cauley around and watches him or what, but we'll see. I just think those odds are crazy. And he claims this card is easy. So I guess I don't know why I'm even here breaking it down. We should just all DM Devin the Dude who's here watching my breakdown because it's so easy. Interesting. I wonder how many of his picks end up being my picks. Who knows? But anyways, next fight here at 205. I love busting balls from my position here as I'm talking, like they can talk back. I'm not gonna hit you up, Devin the Dude. What you do? Get out of here. I'm not gonna hit you up for picks. I'm good, bro. But anyways, next fight.
If you nail this name, mate.
I got you. Carl Albrechtsen taking on Dolvadsan Yagamashirimadov. Did I hit that at all? It's Yagamashirimadov.
That was perfect, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Dolphazan. I will call him from here on out. The Turkmenistan product, now fighting on the Ukraine. 32 years old, 5'11", 72-inch reach. Dolphazan was the guy in the Grand Prix tournament that everybody looked at and was like, why is he here? And then he fought, and it was like, like why is he here? He really didn't show me too much of really to make me think like, oh man, like I'm very impressed by this 5'11", undersized, primarily striking light heavyweight. So I would take advantage of the odds you can get on him as it's going. I'm not trying to tip my hand too much here, but I saw what I need to see against Corey Anderson. I get Corey Anderson is one of the best 205ers in the in the world and everything, but I think Carl Albrechtsen is a guy who's really on the rise also and looking very good. I was really looking forward to the fight between Albrechtsen and Julius Anglickas. I thought that was going to be a fantastic fight, and I think we could see that down the line too. I think Carl Albrechtsen, with wins over Vadim Nemkov, wins over Yuri Prokopyak. I mean, I can never say his name, but Jerry. Yeah, we know who I'm talking about. But Dolphazan, a lot of kind of lesser known guys on his record, has a lot of KO finishes. Best win being Joaquin Christensen, was a red flag before the tournament and still kind of is a red flag. He's primarily a striker. The takedown defense, not great from what I've been able to see. And then got ground and pounded out, kind of looked like he was starting to throw back strikes from the bottom, which isn't what I ever like to see as a bottom defense from a fighter. Carl Albrechtsen has fantastic wrestling. He's physical. He's going to look to get this to the ground at some point. I think he gets it to the ground, keeps it there. It's just kind of a question of me is it the arm triangle or will it be ground and pound for Albrechtsen? But I see him on the ground for the Swedish product here, 28 years old, entering that absolute prime here, 6'2", 75.5-inch reach. He's going to be have a massive reach advantage here. I think he's the only thing he's got to worry about is a slight speed advantage possibly for Dolphazan. It's kind of interesting. Carl Albrechtsen goes back to superior challenge every other Bellator fight to stay sharp and knock some cam out. So his last fight was against a 10-10 guy, but before that beat Victor Nemkov, looked really, really good in that fight. Had a really competitive fight with Phil Davis also, and Phil Davis obviously fights very different from Dolphazan. Did end up fighting Yuri Prokopyak again and losing to him. Beat Vadim Nemkov, as I said. So win over Josh Stansberry, former Contender Series, tough fighter as well. So decent level of competition, beat quite a few of the guys as well. And I just think Dolphazan is not going to have anything that Albrechtsen hasn't seen before. Albrechtsen wins this by, I'm going to say, ground and pound.
I think this is his coming out party for Carl. I really do. I think the last fight to me was super impressive. I know it's against the 10-10 guy, but it's how you dispatch these guys, and that's what I look at when they're fighting, quote unquote, the cans of the divisions. I don't see again how. Yeah, he hasn't seen anything. Dovletsan. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name. He's not going to do anything that Carl hasn't seen, as you say. They both got an elite level loss, as it were, one to Phil, one to Corey. Yep. But the way Corey beat him down, I know it's the third round that he survived, but it was a complete beatdown the whole way through for me. There was no control from him. It was all Corey. Whereas at least Carl was competitive with, in my opinion, the best. Phil Davis to me is one of the, if not the best in Bellator for that weight, and like heavyweight. So I'm going to go with Carl here as well. So I don't know how.
I just had to highlight this comment from Brandon Bishop, one of my best friends in the world. So I don't know if you've listened to Devin the Dude over there in England. He's a rapper over here in the States. So he has a song called Doobie Ashtray. Yeah, and someone definitely took the doobie out of the doobie ashtray, and that is this Devin the Dude. now I remember who Devin the Dude is. I know who this guy is now. So now it makes sense, some of the garbage I'm hearing. And do you want me to put up your here? Maybe Boston didn't see that. I'll just leave this up here because I'm sure Boston loves this. So there you go. I'll let Boston answer that one for herself. But yeah, I think that the odds are way off here. Dovudsan is a plus 135 underdog. You can get Albertson for a minus 170. I think this should be double. I think Albertson should be a minus 350 favorite. So anything under minus 200, I'm hammering for Albertson. I'm also going to be betting him inside the distance. I think a parlay piece that's a minus 170 is lovely as well. Yeah, Dovudsan is a KO or bust here, and I think that Albertson has faced strikers miles better than Dovudsan, and I'm not sold on Jan Dovudsan. I'm just not. Maybe Corey Anderson's that good, and yeah, we'll be talking about him soon. But I think Albertson is one of the best guys now that Julius is into the Grand Prix. One of the best guys not in the Grand Prix. So I will leave it at that. That's the end of the prelims. Going on to the main card here. This is one of my. I think this is one of the toughest fights of the night to call. Honestly, who knows what to think about Henry Corrales, particularly at 145 at this point, at 36 years old. I just think that this weight cut kills him, just destroys him. The toughness, he's so sucked out. He's older up in his career now. Hey, Turks, how about you go away from Murphy? Because, sorry, the dogs are, of course, deciding now to wake up. Good morning, Turks. Yeah, Henry Corrales taking on Vladislav Parubchenko. I nailed that name. The Ukrainian Parubchenko. I'll be breaking down first. 28 and a half years old, taking on the 35-year-old, not 36-year-old. Okay, Henry Corrales. Vladislav, I'll be breaking down first. 16-2. Came into Bellator with a lot of hype. 5'7", 68.5-inch reach. So definitely not a large, definitely not an imposing 145er at all. I mean, I remember when I saw him weigh in, he just looked like a normal dude. Against John DeJesus, lost a decision. John DeJesus, yeah, he's 12-8, but I didn't mean to yell at Turks. I was just trying to get him to leave alone Murphy and his nuts. So that's all. Like I apologize for yelling, but that's cool, Devin. That's great. I'm not gonna look at your picks. I don't care. I don't care about anybody's picks except Lewis's right now. But John DeJesus, he's a tricky 12-8. Like he's a very long bantamweight. He's taken on a ton of high-level opponents in his career. Just got knocked out by Aaron Pico in his last fight. Yeah, I mean, just DeJesus, he's tricky though. Like the 12-8 is misleading. So to lose that decision there, I mean, it was just a tough fight coming off of a couple-year layoff. Before that, a lot of choke finishes over guys I've never heard of. A few of them with decent records, but again, haven't heard of any of these guys with organizations like Tech Crep, Azareleta Fight, MMA Pro Ukraine, RCC. And frankly, I mean, he came over and I didn't see a ton that I love there. But I love, this is a solid comment from, I love old Henry Corrales. Well, you probably want to think before fading a dude with Chenko in his last name. That's fair. Completely fair. I honestly, I don't really know what to think about this fight. I think that Henry Corrales is done, but I also saw nothing from Parubchenko that made me find him at all dangerous. And he looks like a guy who has a very padded Eastern European record. So I'm going to take Corrales in this fight. Honestly, I'm going down with the ship, I guess, because Henry Corrales, I believe he's on a 4-fight losing streak right now, if I'm not mistaken. No, he lost his last fight. He had the one win in there against Brandon Gertz by split. But his losses are to Darian Caldwell, Juan Archuleta, Johnny Campbell, not great, but Johnny Campbell's a scrapper too. I think hits much harder than Porobchenko. And yeah, I just think Corrales, he loves this position, man. He's counted out. I think he fights a little better when he's underdog. And apparently he's not the underdog I thought he was when I looked at the odds here. The odds are very close. I'm not betting it either way. I'm watching this one as a fan because I don't know what Porobchenko really is yet. And I'm not sure if there's anything left of Henry Corrales. But I'm taking Henry Corrales. I'm taking Henry Corrales to get the finish by TKO.
I really thought when you were rattling off all the statistics and how you thought the fight would go that you were going to go Porobchenko, and then you took a complete U-turn and you
all of the paper says Porobchenko, and
you went my pick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going down with the ship as well. I think he's not quite done. I think he's got a little bit in the gas, and I think if he pulls a win, he's done. He's retiring or something. You know, he's out. I think he wants that fairy tale win now because he knows it's coming to an end. But I think he's, you know, where we don't know what Porobchenko can do, we do know what Corrales can do. So that's why I back him. There's more evidence for me to place a bet on that. And again, I wouldn't bet this one. There's only probably 5 definitive fights I would actually bet on this whole card. The rest are kind of at your own risk.
I'm a degenerate, so there's a lot of these I'm betting, but
I'm a lot stingier. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? You probably end up much more successful than I do, and I might want to. Okay, Devin, Dev, the dude. I'm so intrigued. I might look at your picks at some point, but either way, I'm still going to continue to bust your balls, and that's great. You have picks. We all have picks. You know, this is I think this is a card that is very parlayable throughout, though. So that we're both going with Corrales here. He is the slight favorite. I'm very pleased to see, although kind of because it will keep me from betting it, frankly. If Corrales was the underdog, I'd probably bet it. Minus 120 for Corrales, minus 105 for Porobchenko. I think that the odds also kind of don't know. I will finally. I can put one up, and I'm not making fun. Bet them all. Sure. Listen to Deb. Bet them all. Just bet them all. Is going to fight for your money, win or lose. Yes, definitely. In both cards. We'll be back, Dev, if you want to join and get more comments in for Boston Comments. She'll be joining me on the UFC Breakdown tonight at 7:30. So if you want her to verbally and live respond to you, that's your chance, buddy. So maybe you'll get that followed then. But next fight here. Next fight here is
what you wish for with that as well.
What's that?
Be careful what you wish for. Commenting with a live.
Yeah, she's a savage, bro. Like I am the good. Like she is not one you want to get on the wrong side of. But you know, luckily I'm usually on the right side of things because I get it. She will. Yeah, I can hear these caps right now. When she types, I can hear what she's saying. She's one of those people where I can literally hear it. But this is a really good fight at 155. Benson Henderson versus Brett Primus. I'm really pumped for this fight. 28-10 Benson Henderson, 37, almost 38 years old now. 5'9", 71-inch reach for the MMA Lab product, taking on the 10-2 Oregonian product in Brent Primus, 36 years old. So these guys are around the same age, 5'10", 73-inch reach. Really match up similarly. Another ATT Portland, former Team Quest member there. I absolutely support you 100%, Bunny. Boston Comments. You are the reason this channel exists. I would have still be stuck on whatever that old channel was that no longer makes videos. But enough about that. Brett Primus, 36 years old, 5'10", 73-inch reach. Definitely a jiu-jitsu player here. Coming off of that loss to Islam Mamamedov in just late July of this year. Really good fight, actually. Nearly shocked the world. I know that was a lot of people's kind of dog for that card. Were you on? I talked with someone who. Okay, yeah. I talked with someone who was on Primus and ended up with a split decision in that one. I think it was actually Brandon of MMA Wagers. So I believe he was the one. But yeah, Brett Primus. He's taken on guys like Jake Shields, armbar Jake Shields in overtime. Gogo Plata, Tim Wild in Bellator, took on Craig Jones. I mean, he has immersed himself in the grappling world. Has a win over.
Know how Craig Jones is arguably the best right now.
Yeah, Craig Jones literally. I think Craig Jones is probably
it's Craig Jones or Gordon Ryan. It's one of those. So that's
yeah, I mean, and I think it's no matter what happens in that fight, you get better from that fight. I think he showed a lot of those tools against Mamamedov. I thought that was a very impressive performance against a very tough Russian. And right on, Dev the dude. Yeah, he's got Fight Companion on Saturday. I don't do Fight Companion, so if you want to drop your channel so people can check that out, go for it. I'd support it. I'll go check it out at some point. But has a win over Michael Chandler in quotation marks. It was an ankle injury, but honestly, he looked good in the rematch against Chandler too. Took Chandler's back, had a pretty deep rear naked choke in at one point. I mean, this guy can grapple and finish anybody. Honestly, I think this is a very, very close competitive fight here. A lot of split decisions for Primus early on and late. He does just fights close, but ends up kind of on the shorter end of the stick here. I think a key for this fight is Benson Henderson's leg kicks and just ability to throw the kick to the body. I think those are, look at his Tapology picture. That's what he needs to do right there because those kicks, the body kicks, leg kicks really will keep, I think, a good distance for Henderson. I also think grappling-wise, they're going to hang with each other. So this, I think, is another one where grappling gets canceled out a little bit on the feet. I do favor Benson Henderson, his Taekwondo style. I think there is some left in the tank here, but it's kind of hard. Benson Henderson, 38 fights, going back down to 155 here. He's been going between 155 and 170. 2-fight losing streak to Jason Jackson and Michael Chandler. Did some grappling bouts, lost those to lower levels of competition. So if it does go to the ground, I think Primus has the ability to sub anybody and can possibly sub, can sub Benson here. I mean, but I'm going to lean towards Benson. I just think he's got a little bit left here. Maybe this is one I'm regretting, but I think that it's canceled out the grappling and it turns into more of a stand-up war here. The leg kicks, I think Primus has had trouble defending in the past here. I think he has trouble here as long as Benson is active with the volume. I like Benson here just ever so slightly.
I'm going to go the other way here, whereas I don't think Brent and Benson's grappling is comparable. I think Brent is on another level. And I do think he's going to absolutely sandwich him completely. He's going to just compress the space. There won't be time to leg kick. There won't be room. That's the key to victory there. Benson isn't normally an on your bike kind of fighter. He is a plodder and he likes to land at very tight stance. I know he's got Taekwondo styled kicks, but he just kind of stands there, plods forward, plods backwards. He doesn't use the lateral movement as much as other guys that use his kicking techniques. So I think Brent can get him to the mat and implement the game. I'm not saying he's going to finish him, but I think it could be a very dull affair if he doesn't. And I think that's his key to victory because otherwise he's going to get flashy. Benson, he's going to kick him in the liver and he's going to shut his body down very quickly because you don't mess with Benson. And that's in a striking sense if you're Brent. So I think Brent as well, at the age he came into MMA and who he's fought, I think he's a clever fighter. To have that record, you might be like, he's 10-2 against the experience, but that's a good 10-2. He's not fought any chumps.
No. So
I'm going to back Brent on this by decision.
All right. Is this our first disagreement here?
One or two, yeah. Yeah, we normally pretty good to be fair on agreements, but
Oh my God, yeah, dude, Dev. The worst thing you could have did is make a comment on Bunny's appearance. You should have just acted like you couldn't even see her. Do not like. Yeah. That's not the route to get her on your good side. This is our first disagreement though on the card. Not bad at all. Benson Henderson is a slight favorite here, minus 125. I am willing to bet it actually. I think that Benson, is not a bad betting piece here. I'm not going to put in a ton of parlays. Don't need to at that price either. I'm interested to see how the weight cut goes for him here, going back down to 155. I'm not crazy about going between 155 and 170 here. And I think that Jason Jackson, frankly, his last two losses are to two of the best guys in the division right now. And I'm not sure I would say Brent Primus is that.
I'd say he's next in line, though, after those guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
interesting.
I mean, we just can't forget Brent Primus is also 36. I mean, there's a 1 year, but there's a 20+ fight experience difference here. So we see a lot of submissions for Benson Henderson when they're in grappling affairs, but not in MMA. He doesn't get submitted in MMA. It's in grappling bouts. So this is a really interesting fight. It's razor close here.
He got subbed by Pettis. That's the last one I remember when he lost.
No, he has been subbed a few times, and Pettis did get him with that. Was it?
But again, Pettis is a wizard on the mat as well.
Yeah, it was a guillotine, I believe, for Pettis, right?
Armbar.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So but Pettis is very tricky, especially used to be with that grappling. But we're rolling along here. First of all, double digits in the double digits. We got double-digit viewers. Very active chat today, so appreciate you all joining us. This has been a fun one. Devin, dude, you're a character for sure. I'll say it's good to have you? ? Co-main event time. 5 rounds for the co-main event and main event. Remember that. That's very, very notable, I think, for both of these. So first up, we've got maybe the people's main event for this one. I don't know. Ryan Bader versus Corey Anderson. Ryan Bader, 28-6 for the 38-year-old, 6'2", 73-inch reach, taking on the 32-year-old Corey Overtime Anderson, 15-5 for him, 6'3", 79-inch reach, so 6-inch reach advantage for Corey Anderson. That could be a real key in this one. They're also former training partners. According to Corey Anderson, he seems to be making it out that he had the advantages in the training, but I don't really care about that much. And who really knows? But Corey Anderson, 15-5 here, fighting out Kennel Fight Club, also known as KFC. Took out Doltzvan in his last fight, and Melvin Manhoof. So this is my real worry here. Last 2 fights, it's quite a difference in competition. You're going to the former light heavyweight, former heavyweight champion Ryan Bader. Got knocked out by John Blachowicz. But before that, his 4-fight win streak in the UFC looks really good. Beat Glover Teixeira. Pat Cummins, fine. Showed he could beat a very good wrestler, though, and out-wrestle him. Same with Latifi. In all these fights against these solid wrestlers, he is the better wrestler, and then he knocked out Johnny Walker. I was at that fight at Madison Square Garden at 244, and I could fucking hear the crack from the upper deck. It was a legit strike. Shout out to Corey Anderson, former 25-8. Now going and getting all these knockouts, it's definitely crazy to see 3 straight finishes for Corey Anderson, who at one point was just kind of Curtis Blades of the 205 division. He's faced who's who, faced really good opponents. The last 2 pretty one-dimensional strikers, so not going to hold it completely against him. He went in there and did what he needed to. Ryan Darth Bader here, 38 years old. He's been on a little bit of kind of an up and down streak. He did take out Leo Machida in the last fight. Wasn't by any means like a dominant decision, but got the unanimous decision win. Did some grappling bouts. Faced Mason Fowler, who's probably the 2nd or 3rd best grappler right now. He got arm locked by him very quickly, and no shame in that. A loss to Vadim Nemkov by head kick and punches at Bellator 244. The Czech Congo fight was a very weird fight. I actually had Czech Congo in that fight, and it ended with an eye poke early on. This is just a really tough matchup. Again, you're putting 2 really good wrestlers against each other. Bader's got wins over Phil Davis, Matt Mitrione, Muhammad Lal. He's got good, decent wins in Bellator. not incredible wins. I do think that Corey Anderson at 32 seems to be hitting another level, and the 38-year-old Vader seems to be on the decline at best. He's plateaued. So, yeah, sorry about the sneezing in the background of Chico, but he's trying to get me to, maybe think about my pick. I'm going Corey Anderson. I think this is Corey Anderson's fight all day. I think the reach is going to be huge for Corey. That 6 inches is massive. The power of Corey's there. The confidence is there. The last two I'm not crazy about, but you fight who's on your schedule. So, I think that bless you, Chico. Sorry. I got Corey Anderson by finish. Chico and Turks are definitely just going at it at this point. I don't know if you can see this, but this is what happens to Chico after an hour on the podcast. He just turns into a pumpkin. So luckily we only got 2 more fights left. I like Corey Anderson quite a bit here. What's your thoughts?
I think if I hadn't seen Bader fight Machida, I would have bet Bader all day long in this fight. But seeing how stale he did look, I know he got the win, but Lyoto is not Lyoto anymore. Lyoto is, he's a dummy. It's a fraud in Lyoto's body these days. So I think, as you say, Corey only can fight what's in front of him. The level of competition in Bellator in this division is not what it is in the UFC. The competition before, where he was fighting the Ilir Latifis, the Johnny Walkers, the whomever at the time, they were I would put them as a similar level to what Ryan Bader is. Ryan Bader was always that guy that could never get to a title eliminator. He was the one short. He was if you beat Bader, you're top 5, and that was him in the UFC. Came over and stormed the Bellator division. I think Corey beating him is pretty easy pick to me. Based on, I think Bader has the opportunity to make this a boring fight, but Corey is very good at the judging range. Corey cracks. He may not look like he cracks because he looks like he's about 5'7", but he's like 6'3", 6'4". He's a big dude. He cracks hard. He also has very good defensive wrestling as well as offensive wrestling. The only problem is he does leave his chin exposed, but I don't see Bader catching him with anything ferocious, to be honest.
No. First round is the only round I'm worried about that end, frankly. 5 rounds does not favor Ryan Bader either.
Not at all. No. I think Corey is definitely a smarter pick for this one. I can see it being quite boring in the later round, to be honest. But I do think Corey has way more potential. He's the younger guy. He's got a lot less wear on his body, and also he's hungry for that Bellator belt. He came over to win a belt. Bader has done it twice, 2 different divisions. Right. How much has he got left in the tank? I don't know, but I think smart money goes with Corey.
Yeah. No, I agree. Corey, definitely. The odds -190, almost a 2-1 favorite. I can't bring the dog back. They're finally calming down a little bit. So they've relaxed for a second. So I'm going to take advantage of that. For anybody who doesn't know, I run a dog boarding daycare business as well. So these are not all my dogs. So doing a little bit of trying to keep them in line here. But 2-1 favorite for Corey Anderson. I do like him quite a bit in this fight. It's just that's a tough odds. I'll put him in a few parlays. I'm not going to put him in a ton just because Bader is a multi-division champion. He's prepared for 5 rounds multiple times. Yep. And I do think that Bader loses this one emphatically. It could be the end for him, very likely. So you don't want to really count out a champion with his back up against the wall completely, especially against a guy in Corey Anderson who has chin issues, which I'm still not convinced hate that Corey's 2-1. I agree. And seems that there's a Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler debate going on in the comments here. I haven't even started to think about that. There's way too many fights before that fight.
I can't wait
for me to even start. I can't wait for it. I'm gonna be there live, perhaps with somebody else. I'm very excited to watch that one live in person. So this is gonna be a good main event, though. I know that I said the last one was a people's main event, but this is definitely my main event. Vadim Nemkov for the title, taking on a guy who I'm very, very close with. I've done breakdown on this specific. There goes Chico. I think it's ironic. Let me just say, I think it's ironic the dog start to bark as I introduce the next guy, Julius Anglickas, which Julius Anglickas does not. I believe he does not have a nickname. Last I checked. And I have been wanting to give him this nickname for the longest time ever. So if everybody can follow Julius Anglickas on Instagram and send him this message, let's go Lithuanian Terminator, he'll know who it's from because I call him the Lithuanian Terminator. I'm not sure if he can grow hair. He is just a bald muscle machine who just never changes his facial expression and never stops moving forward in a fight. Like this guy moves forward in every single fight and keeps moving forward. And he steps in on short notice. Anthony Rumble Johnson, not to my surprise, and pulled out of the fight, had an illness. I'm not sure what it was. Hopefully he gets better. But Julius Anglickas takes advantage. A Lithuanian, is 30 years old, just entering that prime. 10-1, 6'3", 77-inch reach for the 30-year-old. St. Charles MMA. He stayed with this gym throughout his career. He was on the Contender Series where he got a third-round finish of Carl Reed, rear naked choke, didn't get the contract. Bellator ended up picking him up in 2019, beat Jordan Young, an 11-0 opponent at the time, very good wrestler. Julius just out-wrestled him. Just absolutely out-wrestled him. Was just the better MMA fighter in every sense of the word. Better on the feet, better on the ground, and controlled the decision. We then saw him go against Alex Easy Polizzi, who is an incredible wrestler again, but not at 205, not against Julius Anglickas. The size, the length, the skill, and the strength of Anglickas too much for Polizzi. Polizzi tried to wrestle. He had some success, but Julius, the gas and everything and the strength outlasts him. Another decision win. They just had to keep him warm, I think. They found an opponent in Gregory Milliard who had no takedown defense. And putting him against Julius Anglickas took what was in front of him. I think there's some valid criticism. He should have been able to finish Milliard, but also he won like a 30-26. I mean, Milliard didn't land anything in the fight, and ultimately the point is to not get punched and control and hurt your opponent. That's the point of the fight, and that's what Julius does really well. Had a loss in his, I believe, second fight of his career. He got arm triangled. I don't see that happening. He's faced a good level of competition, especially since coming to Bellator. I think he's faced an impressive level. He's now facing the champion, Vadim Nemkov. But he's been very much preparing for this fight. He is not someone who doesn't spend a lot of time in the gym. He doesn't just wait for a fight to be announced to start preparing. He has been preparing for this type of opportunity throughout this Grand Prix. I think that he's been ready to be the alternate. I thought he should have been the first alternate anyways, and he actually turned it down, the first opportunity, and he did take this one. He's a very, very intelligent fighter. He's very well-rounded. He's going to have a significant size advantage in this fight with the champion. For him, the thing I'm a little worried about is the speed of Nemkov, the leg kicks of Nemkov, and the movement of Nemkov. I think those could be very, very big differences here against Julius Anglickas. This is Julius's first 5-round fight. It's his first time with the media obligations of a main event. He's, seems very calm, very focused, but he's going to have to do a lot of the stuff he's not as comfortable with this week, and with regards to media and with regards to, having a little extra noise around the fight. It's going to be interesting to kind of see how that goes. I'll be honest, I can't not pick Julius Anglickas in this spot. I've been waiting for his kind of opportunity here. I am very biased. I will admit that. I just think that everybody's going to see Nemkov versus Anglickas and just give it to Nemkov. I'm going to let that price rise and ride on the underdog here. It's already a 5-1 favorite for Nemkov. I do not believe there's anybody in Bellator who should be a 5-1 favorite against Julius Anglickas. I think Julius Anglickas can be competitive with any 205er in the world in any organization. I'm not saying he can beat them all. That's not what I'm saying at all. But Nemkov, I do believe, is in for a very tough fight here. And Julius has been preparing for Nemkov. Nemkov has not been preparing for Julius. So, it is short notice on paper, but Julius was ready for this opportunity. And he was going to be on this card anyways, taking on Carl Albertson. I think that was going to set up kind of for who was going to be ready for the champion after the Grand Prix or ready for a fight for the championship. I mean, these Albertson and Anglickas are the two next guys, I think, outside of the tournament here. And Anglickas, I think, shocks the world Saturday night and wins a 5-round decision over Nemkov, uses his length, uses his strength, and out-wrestles Nemkov at points and takes this one. It's going to be close, though. And, both these guys are very good. No shame in losing to Nemkov, but I like Anglickas here. And I am biased.
Man, it's gonna. If I pick Nemkov right now, I'll probably be booted out of here.
No, not at all. I don't need to be pandered to here.
No. I agree. The odds are crazy to me that they're that different. I completely believe Nemkov should be the favorite here. But
Sure.
I think 2-1.
Yes.
Just based on this is Anglickas, as you say, first 5-rounder. This is his first one in front of the spotlight. All eyes on you, pal. What you got?
Yep.
He did it at the contender to a point. There is a lot of eyes on you in the contender, but not like this. Yeah. So I don't need to break it down at all. You've done that beautifully. You know the man better than most. Then
yeah.
But I also like the dog in this. Not just saying that because you like him a load and your buddy was with him, but I do think that in a betting perspective, maybe not in a parlay, but I don't know what you guys call it here, where you have the 3.
Parlays. Yeah.
Is that just the 3? Okay.
Yeah.
As is called a Trixie. So.
Oh, we don't have names for them. Yeah. Some might call it like a trifecta here, maybe.
Okay. If you go into a betting shop here, it's called. You say I want a Trixie on it.
Okay.
It's all crazy stuff. But yeah, I reckon he could do it via 5-round. I don't think he's finishing Nemkov. I really don't. If he can't finish Milliard, I ain't finishing Nemkov. No, no disrespect there. So based off what I've seen, anyway. I hope he changes my mind. I really do, but I'm gonna go with a sneaky underdog bet on this one too. I really am.
I love it. I love it, man. I
hope more people do. But after it's risen so much higher because everyone's jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I just think that this is one where it's worthy of taking a shot at the dog. It should not be 5-1, and not just because I'm friends with Julius and I've been waiting for his kind of opportunity here, but just simply Julius, the way he fights is high level MMA. It's been said in the chat a few times. I'm not sure if they're talking about this fight or a different fight, but chess match. I think this fight could be a very much a chess match, and. Vadim Nemkov is going to have the more varied striking attack. He's going to be quicker, and cardio, I think, is going to be about even, but we'll see. I'll give Nemkov the edge in cardio, but that by no means makes me think Anglickas is weak in the cardio. And I've been watching interviews with Anglickas, and he's very self-aware. He says Nemkov is going to be faster, most likely going to have the better cardio, and he's ready for it. And it's just 5-1 is crazy, Miz. I agree. I'm going to let it just keep going because I don't think it's going to go. I think they're going to ship Nemkov up to a 7-1 favorite or something just because the name
really will be.
Being a champion, training with Fedor Emelianenko, Bellator, all the advertisements going to be behind him. I got the underdog in Anglickas. I already bet it at plus 350. I'm going to bet it again as it shifts. I put in a few parlays to really just rocking them off because, fuck it. Like I'm a degenerate, and when my people are in there and I really believe in them, I get fully behind them. Last week it paid off. Last week it paid off very handsomely with Lupita Gondinez and Marina Rodriguez. That parlay made me a boatload of money. Marina with one of my favorite performances of the year, by the way. People who called that boring, as they say over there in your neck of the woods, are mental, absolutely mental. I don't know how you could call that fight boring. That fight was absolutely world class. Really quick, I'm gonna have us go through. We agreed on most of these fights, so we're gonna just do some quick picks here. We're starting at the bottom here, and now we're here with Makhmed Burkhamanov and Jaleel Willis. We're both on the dog Jaleel Willis. For the next fight here, Jaylon Bates, we're both on him over Rafael Montini. Needless to say, we're both on Lance Gibson Jr. over Raymond Pina. I'm a little more nervous about it, so I'm going to avoid betting it, but he should come through. Sumika and Naba, we're both all over, one of our favorite parlay pieces against Randy Field. Gregory Milliard versus Javier Torres. Both going with Torres. Yep. Just stay away, though, but we'll go with Torres because he knows how to get a takedown, and it appears Gregory Milliard does not. So next fight, Bobby Lee versus Nick Brown. We're both on Nick Brown, but we're cautious here. Could be very, very much closer than people think. And wouldn't surprise me if Lee shocks the world. Sullivan Cauley versus Dion Clash. We're both not super invested in this one, but we'll both take Dion Clash the grappler in a 1-0 battle. Carl Albertson over David Yago-Shimiradov. I'll take Carl Albertson. You got Carl Albertson.
Yeah.
Henry Corrales versus Vladislav Perichenko. We both got Henry Corrales. We'll see how stupid we look in a little bit. 11 fights in, we finally have a disagreement. I got Benson Henderson. Could be a really dark couple fights there. If I got Henry Corrales and Henderson wrong, I'm going to feel very stupid. You got Brett Primus. That is our second. Is our first disagreement there? Second? First.
Yeah,
Yep, first. Third from the top then. We're back on Corey Anderson. Both agree on that over Ryan Bader. And then we both got the underdog, the big dog, Julius Anglickas. So we got one disagreement between the two of us. It will happen. Maybe that's why Devin the Dude called it an easy card. I don't think there's any such thing as easy cards, but this was a really fun card to break down. I'm really looking forward to it. It's actually taking place after the UFC, so the UFC is a little bit early. And Loopy is an absolute savage. We will be talking about her tonight on the channel at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. About 3 hours from now, Bunny and I will be doing the UFC breakdown show. So we'll be talking more about Lupita Godinez and her next fight, UFC record, 2 fights in 1 week. Take a seat, Kazmat Chimaev. But other than that, we will be talking more about that tonight in about 3 hours on the breakdown. Boston Commons, Bunny and I. But Lewis, what's going on your channel? Let us know. I know you've been churning out the content as always.
Yeah, I've got a few new who wins out. We just did the Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington fight, which is nice. So yeah, head over to the channel. It's just loads of breakdown videos. You got the who wins, you got the what's next videos. We've got the MMA show coming out. We've got a few British guys from Cage Warriors going to be on the show next week and the week after, hopefully. So yeah, stay tuned on that. Give us a bit of disrespect or a bit of love on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, he's going at Sub to Norton MMA, guys. Like again, Lewis, you made me a lot of money last week with the Cage Warriors dog picks that you got me. That was absolutely dope. And yeah, shout out Armchair. I'm glad you got totally fine with you guys having disagreements. Just keep them respectful, and everything. So I appreciate that. We don't got to agree ever. I don't care. So it's all good there. But that's going to wrap up the Bellator 268 breakdown. Everybody go give Julius Anglickas some love. Honestly, the guy is outstanding as a human. He's a better human than he is a fighter. As so many of these fighters I've gotten to meet. So super excited to watch him this weekend. And just pumped to watch this card. Hopefully no robberies happen. For Lewis of Norton MMA, for Aaron the Dog. See you in about 3 hours with Boston Comments. Thank you to the whole chat. Double-digit viewers today. Miz, as always, thank you for being here. We're happy to do the content. Until next time, 3 hours from now, I'll see you guys. But keep taking care of each other out there. Peace out. Goodbye.